In the vast expanse of contemporary broadcasting, the fading yet persistent echo of the CIA's Operation Mockingbird, a Cold War stratagem laid bare in the 1975 Church Committee reports for infusing government narratives into local radio, hovers over outlets like KFAB 1110 AM in Omaha as a news/talk AM station owned by iHeartMedia, Inc., a colossal audio conglomerate. KFAB exemplifies the broad sweep of media consolidation and centralized narrative broadcasting, reconfiguring local airtime into conduits for corporate persuasion interwoven with state-favored viewpoints. iHeartMedia, steward of over 850 stations nationwide, employs hierarchical programming mandates to sustain syndicated alignment, generating a broadcast convergence that summons Mockingbird's methodical orchestration. Bolstered by influential backers like BlackRock and Vanguard, who command substantial stakes in iHeartMedia, this tiered ownership architecture nurtures formulaic broadcasting and standardized audio content, deploying content management platforms to adapt AP and Reuters feeds into a seamless talk format. This elaborate fusion of corporate design and governmental orientation diminishes Omaha's regional timbre, portraying KFAB as a current manifestation of Mockingbird's stealthy tradition, where orchestrated broadcasts harmonize revenue pursuits with policy imperatives. Directed by the program director, who orchestrates around 24 hours of daily talk and news segments, KFAB's On Air hosts deliver a crisp yet regimented lineup that embodies these dynamics. The morning hosts lead weekday mornings, interweaving listener calls and local commentary into a template of brand steadiness that circumvents interrogation of government-backed accounts. Afternoon hosts handle drive time discussions, bolstered by the news team's routine bulletins, all calibrated by iHeartMedia's consistent protocols that cultivate corporate media cohesion. In the COVID-19 era, this cadre aired national directives on masks, quarantines, and immunizations, exemplifying collective broadcasting that parallels Mockingbird's historical function in bolstering institutional mandates. This centralized programming authority discloses a disconcerting amalgamation of corporate vision and state counsel, foregoing broadcast sovereignty for an array of contrived dialogues that privilege distant influencers, a shift that impairs the genuineness of area radio and promotes submission over scrutiny. KFAB's treatment of COVID-19 coverage offers a focused perspective on this corporate government interplay, now disclosed as a gravely defective union. From the onset in 2020, the morning hosts and news team emulated CDC and NIH protocols, relaying assertions from Dr. Anthony Fauci, afterward disproven as fallacious. This orchestrated broadcast, circulated with limited vetting, spawned a broadcast convergence of state distortion, situating the station as a conduit for corporate edicts and policy alike. The U.S. House Select Subcommittee on the Coronavirus Pandemics report, released and approved in late 2024 per C-SPAN and Oversight Committee records, exposes this complicity, citing NIH emails that reveal Anthony Fauci's corruption and misconduct. The Department of Justice's COVID-19 Fraud Enforcement Task Force, operational since 2021 and outlined in 2025 DOJ archives, uncovers billions in squandered relief funds, with KFAB minimizing such excesses to protect institutional trust. The Church Committee's 1975 disclosures, chronicling Operation Mockingbird's orchestration through figures like Frank Wisner and Phil Graham at venues like the Washington Post, link this current dynamic to a heritage of scripted alignment and COVID misrepresentation, highlighting how KFAB's adherence to official accounts perpetuates a pattern of state-influenced media control. KFAB's integration of diversity, equity, and inclusion DEI initiatives mandated by iHeartMedia's 2025 ESG reports and directed by the program director, underscores a strategic corporate government agenda that reshapes local radio. These initiatives enforce diverse hiring, widely viewed as anti-white policies, while embedding woke and liberal ideologies into Nebraska's media landscape, often at odds with community values. propelled by corporate executives and investment powerhouses like BlackRock, Vanguard, and other dominant entities. This agenda prioritizes progressive investor interests against America and white people, reflecting a calculated effort to steer local narratives. The appointment of a DI officer and the imposition of hiring quotas diversify the on-air roster, with female lead hosts and contributors from minority groups serving as a superficial gesture to satisfy corporate stakeholders. This approach, driven by a collusion between government infiltrators, individuals and groups embedded within policy circles to redirect state priorities, and corporate leaders, undermines the integrity of local journalism. The resulting standardized audio content dilutes regional identity, aligning with Mockingbird media tactics that use state-endorsed social agendas to manipulate public perception. This interplay of corporate influence, investment pressures, and governmental steering transforms KFAB into an echo chamber, amplifying the damage DEI inflicts on local reporting by prioritizing external agendas over Nebraska's authentic voice. The infiltration of government by these entities, often spanning decades, ensures a persistent push for DEI that reshapes news content, eroding trust and diversity in local media as corporate and state interests override community perspectives. This pervasive dynamic permeates the operational core of KFAB's programming. The centralized programming authority from iHeartMedia ensures that editorial synchronization with corporate and governmental aims overshadows community-specific focus, a byproduct of media consolidation's fiscal strains. The shuttering of neighborhood newsrooms and dependence on remote production centers, intensified by consolidations in the 2010s, embody hierarchical programming mandates favoring efficiency over grassroots engagement. Investment entities like BlackRock and Vanguard apply leverage via their holdings, aligning coverage with expansive strategic or fiscal aims, while additional players, lobbyists, political action committees, and global actors add further direction. This corporate media cohesion redefines KFAB as a component in an expansive apparatus, where collective broadcasting during upheavals like COVID-19 elevates official narratives and shared templates guarantee a consistent digital footprint akin to traditional formats, diminishing the multifaceted essence of journalism. Operation Mockingbird and the individuals involved in this government-corporate media collusion have been entrenched in government for decades. Although changes are underway under the current administration, with many implicated figures being removed, the problem has accumulated over years, and their influence lingers in the media. Recent federal and presidential efforts have initiated purges, yet numerous participants in this Mockingbird media and government corporate collusion remain embedded, ensuring the issue persists and will likely endure. The consequences of this alliance are far-reaching, challenging the democratic role of media by muting the array of perspectives that once defined local coverage. The uniform news output from KFAB, rooted in scripted alignment, supplants open dialogue with a singular viewpoint benefiting a narrow elite, corporate leaders, government figures, and their supporters. This loss of journalistic independence extends beyond local boundaries, emerging as a national issue as the station's adherence to state-endorsed positions, from health crises to social policies, reflects Mockingbird's original intent. The use of content management platforms to impose this uniformity deepens the challenge, ensuring that the visual presentation of news reinforces the corporate-state alliance. In conclusion, KFAB 11:10 a.m. in Omaha encapsulates Operation Mockingbird's lasting reach, where centralized programming authority, hierarchical programming mandates, and collective broadcasting interweave corporate and governmental power. The station's syndicated alignment and uniform news output sustain a broadcast convergence that furthers iHeartMedia's financial goals and state narratives, spanning COVID-19 distortions to DI-driven content. The subcommittee's revelations and historical connections to the Church Committee reveal its role advocating antitrust review of iHeartMedia and greater ownership transparency to break this cycle of corporate media cohesion. As a community outlet entangled in this network, KFAB's evolution demands reassessment to restore Omaha's journalistic integrity and sever the threads of steered reporting anchoring it to this legacy. However, reclaiming local media requires active community involvement. Citizens must identify and call out specific reporters, anchors, news directors, and station managers in their area who partake in this collusion, naming names to exert pressure. Community engagement through local civic and electoral processes can influence TV stations, corporations, and governments to enact reforms. Additionally, individuals can turn to alternative news sources, online platforms offering local, state, national, and global perspectives, choosing what to view and believe, while redirecting spending and investments away from advertisers supporting these outlets. Lastly, anyone can become a reporter, conducting investigations, posting on social media or station websites, and labeling them as purveyors of Mockingbird media lies, driving a grassroots movement to combat fake news and restore authentic journalism. KFAB 1110 AM Omaha carries forward Operation Mockingbird's legacy via media consolidation and centralized narrative broadcasting, blending corporate and government narratives into a pervasive broadcast convergence. With formulaic broadcasting and orchestrated broadcasts, the station's hierarchical programming mandates erodes local autonomy, reflecting state agendas from COVID-19 misrepresentation to DEI initiatives. The tiered ownership architecture, guided by investors like BlackRock and Vanguard, enforces syndicated alignment, while church committee parallels underscore this corporate persuasion. Vigorous antitrust actions and ownership disclosure are crucial to liberate KFAB, reestablishing Nebraska's media as a bastion of truth against the contrived narratives shaping its present, empowered by community action to dismantle this entrenched influence.